Clay, and where did we go today, Baby Cakes?
Well, we went to the Rochester Zoo at Seneca Park, and we're done there, and now we went to lunch at Burger King, and now we're done there.
And we're on the way home.
And we're on the way home.
And we also went earlier this month, was it this month? We went to the Syracuse Zoo.
The Rose Gifford Zoo.
Or
Syracuse,
some people call it the Burnett Park Zoo.
Well, it's the old Burnett Park Zoo, but now they call it Rose Gifford Zoo.
At the Rochester Zoo, we saw the orangutans.
Mm-hmm.
And what were they eating?
Mulberries. Mulberry and mulberry leaves.
It was a special feeding. The guy...
He was feeding them, and I asked him, I said, "Are those mulberry leaves?" He goes, "Yeah." And he looked at me like he was surprised I knew they were eating. But I knew they were mulberry leaves because of our mulberries at home.
And the guy goes, "They're their favorites." So Clay's on vacation this week, and he's been working and getting things done. He did feeders yesterday.
Made bee feeders.
We don't usually do a lot of...
Worked in the garden.
Yes.
We've got tomatoes and cucumbers started already. Got tomatoes about that big. Cherry tomatoes are started.
Mulberries are ready to...
We've been harvesting lettuce already.
Strawberries. A few strawberries.
Little bok choy.
So we're starting to get some goodies.
Get the hiccups now.
And we like to go sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, to places when it rains.
Well, the best time to go to the zoo is when it rains. Take your umbrella with you, and most people don't go to the zoo when it rains, so we pretty much had the zoo to ourselves.
Plus, it's a lot cooler.
Yeah, you're not dying of the heat, and you don't have to fight people to see the exhibits.
And this is something a little bit newer in our state, firework tents.
Yeah, well, it was against the law to use fireworks in New York years ago. So apparently now you can.
So that's kind of a new thing up this way.
Past couple of years, they've had the tents up. This in here is about where I work, anyways. So.
And we're not really that big on fireworks. I mean, we like them, but we're not big on them.
I don't spend my money on it.
Yeah, my husband works up here, this area. He is...
Just went by where I work.
So he has a little bit of ways when he works and comes home, and I'm...
So this scenery I see every day, so...
And I'm always whining every day. I wish you could retire, I wish you could retire. Don't I say that?
I would love to retire. Still got 2 years.
A couple of years, and then... Because Clay and I are best friends.
I'd like to do a little traveling. I don't like to travel much. I like to be home. Ruthie's home all the time, so she likes to travel to get out.
But I do like to stay home too, though. There's so much fun things to do at the house, you know. And also too, this morning before we left, we were doing some of the chores, and we found a little duckling that scampered out of the...
Yeah, I've got to go in the barn and see if the mother hatched any more out, and I got to close her up and feed and water her and the ducklings in the barn.
So so we scooped him up, put him in the house in the bird cage, because he was the only one that was outside and ventured away, but we figured... He
was lost in the weeds. I was working in the garden and I heard him peeping, and I couldn't find him, and then I walked over near the fence and he was over next to the chicken fence, so
it was pretty...
I scooped him up.
So we gave him some food and water and stuff. So hopefully there's more than one chick, but we will find out. but it was feeding time in the morning, so everybody was around feeding. And I did see the mother out away from her nest.
Yeah, but she went back on it.
Yeah.
So if anything's gonna hatch or doesn't hatch, she'll at least be in the barn, and he will too. So.
How old do you think that baby chick was?
The baby's a day old.
Okay. So, of course, we always want to keep the chicks with their parents, you know. But we wanted to make sure the barn was closed off and everything. So, anyway, can't show the baby chick now because we're in the car.
And he's on him.
And we also heard the chickens peep, peep, peep. There's baby chicks there too. So there's a couple animals have chicks and stuff, you know.
You don't always count your chickens before they're hatched because you get cats and everything else that wipe them out. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, you got to watch them. And we've had trouble with cats in our area before. There's one cat. We only have one cat hanging around right now, and he doesn't even care about the barn. You know. Donnie. Donnie the cat, which is a female cat. We wondered the other day if she had kittens, so she's been hanging around, but we don't know if she has kittens or not. She's just roams the neighborhood.
Well, they'll hang around if you feed them.
So we call her Donnie, because once in a while I throw out something to Donnie. So, anyway, we thought it's gonna storm.
Yeah, but that's all behind us coming our way.
Oh, it's coming towards us, right?
Yeah, it's black behind us. Sky is black.
And if you're newer to our channel, we're in upstate New York. Clay and I actually live between Rochester and there's a
Grandpa's nursery.
Between Rochester and Syracuse, and about 5 minutes from Oswego, 5 minutes from Lake Ontario, right near Canada. So we're not too far from the Canadian border.
Across the lake.
Yeah.
Pretty good sized lake here.
Yeah, it's a huge lake. It's a great lake. So, and up here too, some people raise maple syrup. We don't see a lot of that where we are. That's more in Vermont and stuff like that more, isn't it?
Maine, Vermont.
Yeah, there are a few people, but most
Some people do it down here, but
yeah,
for their own use.
Yeah, there's not.
It takes a lot of sap to make a bottle of maple syrup, so you've got to cook it down for a long time. I think it's like 5 gallons of sap makes about a quart of syrup, something like that.
But we're not that really into it.
I'm
Maple
not wasting my time and energy doing something like that.
Yeah, it's not our thing.
I'd rather have the honey on pancakes and stuff anyways.
Yeah, we eat our pancakes with honey.
I use honey butter.
We harvested our first honey, and it's so good that we pretty much replaced syrup with honey. And it's really, really good. So you can see all the trees. Now, New York has more, if you have never been to upstate New York.
Which is a lot different than New York City.
Exactly.
When people say New York, they all laugh and think that everybody lives in the city. Well, we're far from living in the city.
Yeah, right. Because there's lots of farms and stuff in upstate New York. There are cities, but around
upstate New York is mainly farming communities.
Right. You're going to have some cities like Syracuse, Rochester.
Yeah, you have a few cities.
But around those cities is all farms.
Yeah.
We're lush, rich, lush
This
land.
is the main highway, and you can see trees on both sides. No buildings. Now we're coming to an intersection. You're going to see a couple of things, like a Dollar General and the town building where they use the snow plows and stuff. But then you'd be getting right back into trees again. And
it's hilly here. If you've lived in the flatland and, like, you know, down in the, you know, in the south, some of the southern states, it's real flat. But if you come up here for a visit, you're going to notice, first thing you're going to notice is how hilly you can't see for miles and miles like you can in you know, other states, because there's lots of hills. But the one thing you will probably notice is we have lots of this green, lush, you know, land. We have lots of greenery and trees and all that, but everything kind of, you know, dies out in the winter. We don't get, like, our grass isn't like really thick. It's there and it's nice, but it's not like the grass, I think, down south where it's like each blade is thicker, you know, because we, you know, everything dies out, or, you know, it kind of goes dormant in the winter, which we like that up here because the bugs and everything else go dormant. But you know, there's lots of plants up here that, you know, winter, they just won't survive like a whole year. But there's a lot of things to do.
That's why most people plant perennials up here, so they come back every year.
Yeah.
What this guy's doing is got his signal light off or on, and whoa.
Was he okay?
Cop behind us. That's what's going on.
Okay, well that helped. Here he goes.
I didn't hear any siren until he
No,
got
neither
right up
did
on
I.
us.
He must have good hearing.
We probably saw him in the rear view
Well,
mirror.
he might have his windows open too.
There could be.
We don't have our windows open. So there he goes. There goes the police.
At least he wasn't after us.
Hey, remember what we had on a video? I know one of our followers noticed that.
Well, I remember the video where the cops pulled Santa Claus
Yeah, that's
over.
what I was going to tell you about. Cops pulled Santa over.
Santa was on a motorcycle and he pulled him over.
And we got that. That was pretty cool. It was great. Santa was riding around on a motorcycle around Christmas, waving.
You might see our video. It's called Santa got busted.
Yes, that's what, but it was great because Santa was waving to everybody. And we caught him on tape. It was so cool because he's waving. He's on a motorcycle. Everybody loved it, and all of a sudden the cop got him.
Probably because he didn't have a helmet.
Yeah, he didn't have a helmet, but it was really cute.
It's illegal to ride a motorcycle in New York without a helmet.
You can't drive until you're 16 either here in New York, and then you can't drive at night. I think.
After sundown, you gotta be off the streets.
And I think you have to be 18 to
Until
get.
you're 19 or until you're 18.
I think you have to be 18 to get married in New York, except if you're 17, maybe with
Your parents can sign.
And we start school.
Some of the other states, you can get married at 15 and younger. Like, I think Kentucky's one of them, I'm not sure.
Well, also too, you can't. Oh, what was I gonna say? Well, we have dog licenses up here, and they're talked about having cat licenses. Didn't you? For cats, you have to have your dog on a leash
At all times.
at all times, and lots of rules in New York. Lots and lots of rules. There's good and bad with that at times. So, here we go. We get to
Another
a
red light out in the middle of nowhere. Trees all around us, a few houses, but that's about it.
But there's different kinds of, you know, there's a lot of different kinds of people all over New York.
These are little tiny towns that have maybe about 12 houses on them.
You're going to have your business people here in New York, upstate New York, in this area, which know nothing about country. Then they're going to be the country people that are really pretty much country. You have your hunters, a lot of snowmobilers as you get closer to Canada.
A lot of farmers out here.
Yeah, a lot of farmers as you get closer, because they love this kind of living. They like the northern living, getting close to Canada. Once you get past, you know, go up Syracuse, probably half an hour, those people like kind of where we live. They like the snow, they like the snowmobiling, which we're not really snowmobile people, but they like the country life.
I used to like riding snowmobile when I was a kid.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of that because there's so much snow up this way. Skiers, you know. And of course, where we're at, more than say Syracuse and that area, we get a lot of vacationers and resort areas because
A lot of camping going on.
They like to go camping. They like Lake Ontario. They like that type of life compared to business. You know, it's just more of a vacationing area. And up this way too, we also have more of the immigrants that come in from visas to do the farming. So we have a really big
apples, cherries.
We have a big mix of people, but we don't necessarily have business people up here. We have vacationers, campers, the locals, the migrants, but we don't have a lot of like professionals up here. I mean, it's not like they do when you get close into Syracuse and the city of Rochester, because the people up here, this is more like a vacation, like live and let live kind of lifestyle, which is really nice because it's super relaxed, you know, but you're not going to have that pressure of, you know, like everybody's trying to make a dollar. It's really super relaxed, which is really a great place if you're planning to retire like we want to in a couple years, you know. So it's wonderful. I love living up here. So, but you know, if you've never been to upstate New York, you know, you can pretty much pick your lifestyle. you know, can move to different areas, and you know, you're not going to get no New York City, Manhattan type of Los Angeles, Chicago life, but you will get some business if you want that type of thing. But we pretty much have a little of everything in this area. And if you really want to do city stuff, you know, 6 hours to New York City, you know. Probably more like 8 for us, maybe 7 or 8, I don't know.
A lot of small businesses.
Yeah, a lot of just mom and pop type things more up here, you know, up where we live, you know. So, I mean, if you're fashion conscious, don't move up here, because there's no shopping except online. You know, you're not going to be able to, you know, go into some of the nicer stores.
Unless you go into the cities.
Right, you'd have to go into the cities to do that. But it's nice because, I mean, you can get nice clothes and everything.
We have to travel about 20 miles to go to the city.
But you're not going to find your people aren't going to be that
There's
conscious.
mom and pop stores close by, but your prices are higher too.
Right, but you can still get, you know, you can get your hair cut, you can get, you know,
sometimes it's good to patronize the mom and pops.
Right.
Because for what little bit you pay more for an item at a mom and pops,
I think
you're only paying for it in gas going 20 miles away.
I think it's cheaper though, actually. It's a lot cheaper to live.
You got a lot more fresh vegetables and things at these.
Well, the food is cheaper, and also even the clothing and things are cheaper because people are going to have to shop at Walmarts and stuff like that. They're not going to be shopping at, you know, the how do I put it, the clothing stores, because there's no clothing stores. You're going to have to go to you know, pretty much
Target or something like that.
Target, Walmart, that type of thing. But anyway, just to give you a little idea, if you aren't familiar, and
that's another major highway we just passed.
Yeah.
And you see it's still nothing but trees on both sides. So I mean, you travel a long ways if you're going.
Yeah, but these aren't like the throughways. These are like, I mean, these are like, you know how if you go through different towns, like you're gonna have houses along here, you know, like cities. You won't get that. I mean, this is like, because there's so much land.
This is rural area.
Yeah, so you know, there could be houses here, but it's not like it's a highway only for traffic. A house could be on here if they wanted to be. It's not built just for, you know, traffic.
Mostly businesses along 104.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, even for the businesses.
A lot of farming, a lot of apples.
Now, what are those?
That's all miniature apples.
Miniature apples. Because I asked them earlier, I thought they were grapes, but then I thought, no, they don't look like grapes.
No, they're not grapes.
They're miniature apples.
They're miniature apple trees.
So, you know, this is a beauty. It's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. It's like you get the best of all the worlds. It's just beautiful. So, anyway, look at those weird looking clouds up there. They look kind of strange, don't they?
Look at the ones behind us. We've got some weird looking clouds.
I don't know if I can see
Trying to beat them home so we can get in the door before we get stormed out.
Before we get stormed, yeah. So, but anyway, well, we wanted to shoot out a video. We are hoping to do a lot more videos this week. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye and God bless.